and ellas. Spanish present simple. I assume you already know how to use present simple, presente de indicativo of the Spanish language because you know how to use present simple in English. So we are not going to talk about the usage because it's the same. We are going to talk about the conjugation, which is a little bit more complicated in Spanish, but it's not that hard. I swear. At first, when I started learning Spanish, I also was like, God, how do I learn this? But with time and practice, it became easy. Welcome to my Academy of LengUAs, an international language space where we learn languages with joy. My name is Dana and I'm here to help you. So the first thing that you have to know is that Spanish regular verbs are divided into 3 groups, depending on the ending of the infinitive of the verb. And we are gonna get one option of each group to understand the conjugation better. You have verbs hablar, comer, vivir. Hablar is to speak. Comer is to eat. Vivir is to live. As you can see, they have different endings. Hablar has an ending ar. Comer has an ending er. Vivir has an ending ir. So these are 3 groups of the verbs with endings ar, er, and ir. I want to make sure you know and understand this. Yo, tú, él, ella, usted, nosotros, vosotros, ellos, ellas, ustedes. Yo is I. Tú is you. Singular. Él is he. Ella is she. Nosotros y nosotras is we. Vosotros y vosotras is you but plural. Ellos and ellas is they. What is the thing with the endings? Like why we have 2 options for each of them? It depends on whether a group of people is masculine, feminine, or mixed. And the rule applies to each of them. So if a group of people is masculine or mixed, we use the OS ending. Nosotros, vosotros, ellos. If the group is purely feminine, we use as endings. Nosotras, vosotras, ellas. A special form for a special human being. So what's the deal with usted y ustedes? In Spanish, they have these forms to talk in more like polite, in more respectful way. In Spain, they usually use these options to talk to the elderly. Usted is like if you want to say tú, but in more polite way. So let's say if a cashier in the supermarket is talking to a person who is like 20ish, they usually use tú. But if they are talking to a man who is in his 80s, they usually use usted. Ustedes is the same option but for plural. So if there are 2 men in their 80s, they use ustedes instead of usted. But in Latin America and most of the countries, they mostly use ustedes instead of vosotros. Now I'm sure you understand this one, so we can move on with the conjugation. Here is the table of the conjugation of regular verbs in Spanish in Presente de Indicativo, in present simple of the Spanish language. The general rule of each conjugation is that you take the ending, so ar, er, or ir, and you switch it to another corresponding ending. Good news is, when you want to say I, you have only one ending for each group. It's always o. For yo, the ending is o. It's easy because yo ends with o, so any verb conjugation for yo ends with o of regular verbs. Okay? Yeah, I have to make this remark so you understand that it's only for regular verbs. So you had hablar, you take ar and you switch it to o. Yo hablo. You had comer, you take the er and you switch it to o. Yo como. You had vivir, you take ir and you switch it to o. Yo vivo. As you can see, with the ending, I also switched the stressed syllable, the emphasis of the word. We've already discussed the rules of emphasis in one of the previous videos. So if you are not sure you know them, you can go and watch that video. If you already know the rules, you know that if a word ends with R, the emphasis falls on the last syllable. If a word ends with a vowel, in this case it's O, the emphasis falls on the penultimate syllable. That's why the emphasis switches from hablar to hablo, from comer to como, from vivir to vivo. Okay, so yo hablo, como, vivo. When it comes to tú, él, ella, usted, ellos, ellas, ustedes, you have only 2 different colors. And since yo have only 1 color, it means that tú, él, ella, usted, and ellos, ellas, ustedes have 2 different forms. So verbs that end with a have their ending. Verbs that end with er and ir have the same ending. But they also have some connection because the endings are similar. They only switch the vowel. For tú, what you basically do is you switch the R at the end of the verb to S. And it works for ar and er endings. Ir endings in this case are just the same as the er endings. Hablar, hablas. Comer, comes. Vivir, vives. As you can see, the endings are as and es, and it's obviously connected to the original ending. When it comes to ele y a usted, the only thing you have to do is to get rid of the s at the end of the two forms of conjugation. So you had hablas, comes, vives. Now you have habla, come, vive. So you just don't have the s now. Él habla, ella come, usted vive. For ellos, ellas, ustedes, you take the ele y a usted forms and add an n at the end. So you had habla, come, vive. Now you have hablan, comen, viven. Ellos hablan, ellas comen, ustedes viven. As you might understand, I left nosotros and vosotros forms on purpose because we have three different conjugations, three different endings in this case. But it is also logical. Just bear with me. For nosotros, you take the infinitive form of the verb, so hablar, comer, vivir, and you switch the R to mos. Hablar, hablamos. Right? You switch the R to mos. Hablar, hablamos. Comer, now you switch the R to mos. Comer, comemos. For vivir, it's the same. You switch the R to mos. So, vivir, vivimos. As you can see in this case, the vowel in the ending is different, but it's like directly corresponding to the original vowel. Hablar, hablamos. Comer, comemos. Vivir, vivimos. And it's almost the same thing, very similar, but a little bit harder for vosotros. As you can see, the forms of the vosotros have these acentos gráficos above the vowels. We've spoken about acentos gráficos in one of the previous videos about the emphasis, so you know where to find the info. Basically, what you do, you have a, e, I, so you put an acento gráfico, so the emphasis stays on these letters, and then you switch the R to is. Hablar, habláis. Comer, coméis. And for vivir, since the vowel is already I, you don't have to add es, you add only is. Vivir, vivís. For verbo hablar, it's yo hablo, tú hablas, él, ella, usted habla, nosotros hablamos, vosotros habláis, ellos, ellas, ustedes hablan. For verbo comer, it's yo como, tú comes, él, ella, usted come, nosotros comemos, vosotros coméis, ellos, ellas, ustedes comen. And for the verbo vivir, yo vivo, tú vives, él, ella, usted vive, nosotros vivimos, vosotros vivís, ellos, ellas, ustedes viven. Okay, so now you know the theory, now you know the logic. The only thing that you need is practice as usual. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching and have a great day.